Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'll be talking about the NFC West, their schedules, and what I think their win totals will look like in 2025. This on another episode of...
So, first up in the NFC West, we have the Los Angeles Rams. In Week 1, the Rams will be playing at home against the Houston Texans. I think the Rams win this game. The Texans aren't as good on offense as the Rams, especially considering C.J. Stroud had a sophomore slump, and it remains to be seen if he can rebound from that. In Week 2, the Rams go up against the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. I think they win this game. The Titans have their new quarterback in Cam Ward, but it's too early in the year for him to truly be able to start taking on better NFL teams. In Week 3, the Rams will be going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Rams will lose this game. The Eagles at home should be able to defeat the Rams. In Week 4, the Rams will be playing at home against the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts, they have a weird thing going on where they don't know whether Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones will be their quarterback. So the Colts just don't have a quarterback capable of out-dueling Matthew Stafford. In Week 5, the Rams will be hosting the San Francisco 49ers, and even though the Niners usually are able to defeat the Rams in the regular season, I think the Niners lose this game to the Rams. In Week 6, the Rams will be traveling to Baltimore to play the Ravens, and I think the Rams will lose this game. The Ravens are very good at playing NFC teams. In Week 7, the Rams will be hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think that's a win for the Rams. The Jaguars roster is just not as talented as the Rams roster, so the Rams should be able to pull out a win there in Week 7. In Week 8, the Rams have their bye, and then in Week 9, the Rams host the New Orleans Saints. Now, the New Orleans Saints will have a long list of issues heading into the season, number one being Derek Carr's retirement has left them with Tyler Shuck being their new quarterback, and that's not going to end well, I think, for the New Orleans Saints. In Week 10, the Rams will be traveling to play the 49ers in San Francisco, and I think they split the series with the 49ers and lose this game. In Week 11, the Rams will be hosting the Seattle Seahawks, and I think the Rams win at home against the Seahawks. The Rams have been very good at getting the better of the Seahawks in years past, and now that the Seahawks quarterback is Sam Darnold, a person who the Rams played very well in 2024, I think they will beat again in 2025. In Week 12, the Rams will be hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think this is actually going to be a really good game. It'll be very close, but I think the Rams, at the end of the day, will be able to defeat the Buccaneers. In Week 13, the Rams will be traveling to Carolina to play the Panthers. I think the Rams will beat the Panthers. The Panthers' offense doesn't have as many playmakers as the Rams, and I think that'll be the deciding factor. In Week 14, the Rams will be traveling to play the Cardinals, and I think the Rams win this game. The Cardinals, while they'll be better than they were in 2024, I don't think they're at the level of where they could truly contend for the NFC West yet. In Week 15, the Rams will be hosting the Detroit Lions, and I think the Rams will win this game. Detroit, I think, will suffer a lot from losing their coordinators in the offseason. In Week 16, the Rams will be traveling to Seattle to play the Seattle Seahawks. And in this matchup, I think the Rams will actually lose to Seattle. The Seahawks, with Sam Darnold, I think the longer they play through the season, the better they'll get. In Week 17, the Rams will be traveling to the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Rams win this game because the Falcons are just not as talented on defense or on offense as the Rams would be. And in Week 18, the Rams get to host the Arizona Cardinals to end the season. And I think to end out the season, the Rams will get another win over the Cardinals. And so, after beating the Cardinals at home, the LA Rams will finish their season with a record of 13-4. Next up in the NFC West, we have the Seattle Seahawks. In Week 1, the Seahawks get to face off against the San Francisco 49ers at home, and in this game, I think the Seahawks will win. The Seahawks should be improved with Sam Darnold at quarterback. They got Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith-Njigba as their two wide receivers, and they still have Kenneth Walker at running back, which is a great offensive unit. And I think at home, Week 1, where everyone's still a little shaky on what to expect and how good each squad is, I think the Seattle Seahawks are good enough to get the win. In Week 2, the Seahawks get to go on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and in this game, I think the Seahawks will still win. The scariest thing about the Steelers is their defense, and honestly, their offense is a little bit questionable. In Week 3, the Seahawks get to host the New Orleans Saints, and I think that's a win for the Seahawks. The Saints will be struggling in 2025. In Week 4, they get to travel to play the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Cardinals at home, I think, get the win. In Week 5, the Seattle Seahawks get to host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in this game, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come out on top. I think Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans prove more than a match for their Seattle counterparts. In Week 6, the Seattle Seahawks get to travel to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. And I think in this game against the Jaguars actually win. In Week 7, the Seattle Seahawks get to host the Houston Texans at home, and I think the Texans get the win. In Week 8, the Seahawks get their bye, and in Week 9, they get to travel to play the Commanders. I think they lose this game. The Commanders are a very well put together team, and Jaden Daniels is better than Sam Darnold. And then in Week 10, the Seahawks get to host the Arizona Cardinals. I think they split the series with the Cardinals and get a win here. In Week 11, the Seahawks get to travel to play the Rams. I think they lose this game, and Cooper Kupp does not get his revenge against his former team. In Week 12, the Seahawks get to travel to play the Tennessee Titans. I think they win this game. In Week 13, the Seattle Seahawks get to host the Minnesota Vikings and have the Sam Darnold revenge game. In this game, I think the Seahawks get the win, and they get revenge against the Minnesota Vikings for Sam Darnold. In Week 14, the Seattle Seahawks get to travel to play the Atlanta Falcons. I think they get the win here. The Falcons' offense probably will not be as good as the Seattle Seahawks offense. In Week 15, the Seahawks get to host the Indianapolis Colts, and hopefully by this point in the year, the Colts have figured out their quarterback situation. But I don't think that helps them because the Seahawks, I think, will still beat them. In Week 16, the Seahawks will win against the Rams at home. And hopefully by this point, they've meshed together enough that they can get a win against the Rams. In Week 17, the Seattle Seahawks get to visit the Carolina Panthers. And I think the Panthers get the win here to finish out the season. In Week 18, the Seahawks get to travel to play the San Francisco 49ers. I think the Seattle Seahawks will lose. I think they split the series. And with that, the Seattle Seahawks finish their season with a record of 8-9. And to finish out the season, the Seattle Seahawks will end their season with a record of 9-8. Next up in the NFC West, we have the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Arizona Cardinals open up Week 1 playing the New Orleans Saints. I think they win this game. Kyler Murray, it will be better than any quarterback the Saints trot out in Week 1. In Week 2, the Arizona Cardinals get to host the Carolina Panthers, and I think the Arizona Cardinals have a very talented group of playmakers, and this early in the season, they'll be more talented than anything the Panthers have available, so they'll get another win here. In Week 3, the Cardinals travel to play the San Francisco 49ers, and even though the San Francisco 49ers roster is a bit depleted, I think they're good enough to beat the Cardinals in Week 3. In Week 4, the Cardinals get to host the Seattle Seahawks. I think they beat the Seahawks at home. In Week 5, the Cardinals get to host the Tennessee Titans, and I think the Cardinals win this game. Unfortunately for Tennessee, they're a very young team. Their quarterback's a rookie, and outside of their rookie quarterback, the roster is not all that talented. In Week 6, the Cardinals get to travel to play the Indianapolis Colts. And given how both Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones are not as talented as Kyler Murray, I think the Cardinals will win against the Indianapolis Colts. In Week 7, the Cardinals will get to play the Green Bay Packers, and I think the Packers, who will be visiting the Cardinals, will win. The Packers should be a great team this season. In Week 8, the Cardinals get a bye, and in Week 9, the Cardinals get to travel to play the Dallas Cowboys. And I think the Dallas Cowboys at home will beat the Cardinals. In Week 10, the Arizona Cardinals get to travel to play the Seattle Seahawks at home. And I think by this point in the season, the Seattle Seahawks will have meshed better together, and at home they'll get a win against Arizona. In Week 11, the Cardinals get to host the San Francisco 49ers, and I think they win this game. The Niners, I think, will still be a decently good team this year, but the Cardinals at home should be able to eke out a win against that depleted roster of talent. In Week 12, the Cardinals will be hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars, and at home, I think the Cardinals actually get the win here. The Jaguars had to let a lot of talent go in this offseason. In Week 13, the Cardinals will be traveling to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think the Buccaneers get the win here. Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, and Mike Evans are a very talented group. In Week 14, the Cardinals get to host the LA Rams, and I think they lose here. This actually might have a chance to be a decently high-scoring game, and I think the Rams this year are better set up to win those kinds of games than the Cardinals are. In Week 15, the Arizona Cardinals get to travel to Houston to play the Texans, and I think the Texans will win this game. The Texans, hopefully by this point in the year, are playing better, and CJ Stroud has actually taken steps to being a better quarterback. In Week 16, the Cardinals get to host the Atlanta Falcons, and unfortunately, I think they lose this game. In Week 17, the Cardinals get to travel to play the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think the Bengals get the win here. The Bengals, no one's matching the Bengals in terms of pure offensive power this season, and the Cardinals won't be able to keep up. And finally, in Week 18, the Arizona Cardinals travel to play the LA Rams, and I think they lose this game. The Rams at home should be more than a match for Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. And with that being said, I think the Arizona Cardinals will end their season with a 7-10 record. And finishing out the NFC West, we have the San Francisco 49ers. Week 1, they will be going up against the Seattle Seahawks. I think in Week 1, going up against the Seahawks, they lose. There's a lot of turnaround on the Niners this season, and I think the Seahawks will get the better of them. In Week 2, the 49ers get to play the New Orleans Saints, and I think this is a win for them. The Saints, with Tyler Shuck at quarterback, will not be a match for the San Francisco 49ers. In Week 3, the San Francisco 49ers are going up against the Arizona Cardinals at home, and I think they'll get a win here. In Week 4, the San Francisco 49ers go up against the Jacksonville Jaguars at home, and the Jaguars have lost a lot of their good pieces, a lot of talent over the last few seasons, so I think at home the 49ers get the win. In Week 5, the San Francisco 49ers get to visit the LA Rams, and I think they lose this game. In Week 6, the 49ers get to travel to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I think they get the win here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a very good team, and honestly, you can make an argument for this game going either way, but I think the 49ers get the win. In Week 7, the 49ers will be hosting the Atlanta Falcons, and I think the Falcons will be able to eke out a win against the 49ers. In Week 8, the 49ers travel to play the Houston Texans, and I think as long as the Texans have done enough to protect CJ Stroud and he improves, they can win this game. In Week 9, the San Francisco 49ers travel to play, this time, the New York Giants, and I think this is a win. The Giants, unfortunately, are not as talented as the 49ers, even in a down year for the team. In Week 10, the 49ers host the Rams, and at home, I think they beat the Rams. They have traditionally been able to beat the Rams more often than not, And at home, I don't think that changes. In Week 11, the 49ers will be traveling to play the Arizona Cardinals. And this time I think the Cardinals win. The Niners and Cardinals, I think, are very close to each other in terms of how good they are now that the 49ers have lost a lot of their talent. And I think the Cardinals this time will get the better of them. In Week 12, the 49ers this time will be hosting the Carolina Panthers. And at home, I think Christian McCaffrey gets revenge on his former team. In Week 13, the 49ers get to travel to play the Cleveland Browns. And this is just one of the benefits of having one of the easier schedules this season, is that they get a nice game against the Cleveland Browns in Week 13 where they win. In Week 14, the 49ers get their bye week. And in Week 15, they get to host the Tennessee Titans, which they're going to win off a bye week. That's a very easy matchup. In Week 16, the 49ers get to travel to play the Indianapolis Colts. And at home, I actually think the Colts will win this game. Hopefully by this point in the year, they figured out who their quarterback is. In Week 17, the 49ers get to host the Chicago Bears. And actually, I think the Bears win this game. The Bears, unless something goes catastrophically wrong, like normal, I think are a very highly improved team. And to end out the year, in Week 18, the San Francisco 49ers will be hosting the Seattle Seahawks. And this time at home, I think the 49ers get the win over the Seattle Seahawks. And with that being said, the 49ers will end their season with a 10-7 record. With that being said, guys, please like, share, subscribe down below, and comment what you think. And I'll see you next time.